Now for some final thoughts on the MH015. Let's go. I know you guys out there love specs, so we're going to do a quick drill down. Let's talk about steel. This blade uses a high-speed tool steel, which is HS401. That is a high-strength stainless steel. It's mostly used in the tool and die industry, where strength and sharpness is a must when you're making metal parts. Let's talk about the grind. This knife has an asymmetrical grind, and you're probably asking yourself, what is an asymmetrical grind? When I first started in this knife review genre, I didn't know what that was. What an asymmetrical grind is one side of the blade is a different grind than the other side. A symmetrical grind would be both sides are the same profile grind. This knife has a flat grind on one side and it has a convex grind on the other side. So you're probably asking yourself, what are some of the benefits of a quote asymmetrical grind? Well, that could cause a lot of arguments and bar fights right there, but I'll tell you what my thoughts are on an asymmetrical grind. By having that asymmetrical grind, you're getting the best of both worlds. You're getting something that's going to be extremely sharp, that is going to slice very well. And as you could see in some of the testing that I did, whether it's cutting the leather, cutting the toe straps, whether it's making that tri-stick, it was slicing really, really well. Now, a lot of people ask why I do the leather and the toe strap, cutting and slicing. I try to do some uniform testing, so if you look at some of my videos, then you have data points and a benchmark to be able to refer to. It is very important to do tests like that to be able to see what the consistency of these grinds are. So when I'm cutting that leather, I'm not just out there going, gosh, we need to slice this leather. I'm showing you how well it slices and what a clean edge it leaves. Let's talk a little bit about the 90-degree spine. This has an extremely aggressive 90-degree spine. And in the bushcraft community, that's important because you folks out there pretty much demand that nowadays. In my testing, you saw when I was doing the fatwood test where I was scraping it to get some fire starter off of that, it worked extremely well. So it's going to do a good job when you're doing your bushcraft, campcraft tasks, whether you're making spoons or kuskas or other implements. It's going to work to be able to contour and sand things out. Let's talk a little bit about the handle. And as you can see, yeah, the knife is still dirty. I actually used the blades out in the field. So the handle, as you guys can see, is pretty much a simplified functional handle. It's not a Coke bottle design, but it has a little bit of chamfer on the back to be able to get your ring finger or your index finger in there to be able to get a good lock and hold that blade in. Now for me, as a knife designer, I personally think that the handle is one of the most important aspects of any knife. So if you have a beautiful looking design and the handle is not ergonomic or it's not functional, then it's pretty much of a waste. You're not going to use it. So that's why I do those tasks in these knife reviews where I'm making a tri-stick, where you're getting down and you're having to do the fine, intricate detail. Because when this blade is pitching and yawn and going back and forth, it's going to let you know if there's any hot spots. This knife, with its simplified design, is just functional and it works. Now, in the chopping aspect, I use what's called that backseat grip. And you guys see it all the time where I put my hand like that around it, and then I use it as a pendulum as I'm chopping. There was a nice pendulum arc with this blade that made it a very effective chopper. And when I was chopping through that stick, it was probably 2 inches, 2.5 inches in diameter. It made quick work of that stick. So it is a very, very functional and workable chopper. Another test that I like to do is the stab test. Now, a public service announcement. I don't advocate taking your knife and constantly stabbing it into things and testing the tip of your blade, because with enough use and abuse, no knife is going to be able to take it. You're going to break it. But in these reviews, I do that so you see, one, how well the steel married with the heat treat is going to behave in a certain design. I've seen some knives just bend a tip. I've seen some knives break a tip. That's why I do that stab test. So let me get up close so you guys can see. The tip on this is still very sharp and abrupt. And if you look at it from the top, you can see the two different grinds. You can see the flat grind on one side, and you can see the convex grind on the other side. Let's talk about the length and dimensions, because this is the second iteration of this knife. The first one was the 01. It was slightly smaller version. This blade was about 2 years of testing and development to be able to get all the geometry correct as far as blade length, grind, handle, all that stuff. A lot of work goes into the design of these blades, and I think that it was well thought out. The overall length of this blade is 11.02 inches long, and the blade length is 5.79 inches. I think that is the perfect combination for this design of blade. You guys know that I'm a stickler for craftsmanship. I love just attention to detail. And there was a lot of love that went into the making of this sheath. It's just beautiful. The tanned leather is just outstanding quality. The stitching on this is just amazing. The fit, finish, and feel of how the knife goes into the sheath and how it secures is very nice. This is a nice quality sheath to go with this blade. Here's a little bonus for you guys, a little, like Salt Bay does, a little salt on there. I did a cameo of a saw in this video, and it is the Pro Cut saw. And I know that you folks are gonna see it in the video and you guys are gonna ask me about it, so I might as well just bring it up. I'll be doing a video on this saw at a later date because there's two different sizes of this saw. I use the large version, but the Pro Cut, here's the quick specs. Its overall length is 17.32 inches. The blade length is 8.27 inches. And when it's folded, it's 9.65 inches. And it only weighs in at 8.11 ounces. And it has a really cool nylon sheath that goes on your belt and it just slides right into it. That saw worked really good. And I've used a ton of them. If you guys have been watching the channel over the years, you guys know that I've used a bunch of saws before. This saw worked really well. The steel that they're using is SK85 and it is induction hardened. You couldn't ask for better steel on this saw. It just plain works. It's no secret that I really like this blade. Now, keep in mind, I'm thinking of it in a bushcraft capacity. I'm not thinking about it in a combat survival blade or any of that James Bond crazy stuff. I'm thinking of it as campcraft, bushcraft blade. I'm looking to make camp implements. I'm looking to make traps. I'm looking to do the stuff that bushcrafters do. This knife checks all the boxes. I think the asymmetrical design is a smart way to go. I wish a lot more companies would go that route because the grind just plain works. And for guys that say, oh, it's going to be a bear to sharpen or this or that, guess what? If you love what you do, you will learn how to do the tasks. You learn how to sharpen it. You learn how to strop it, things like that. It is not that hard to sharpen asymmetrical designs, especially with the convex on one side. It is not hard at all. And they are right and left hand specific. So if you order it, you need to let them know that you're going to be using it right or left handed, because if you try to use it the opposite way, you're going to have a hard time doing some of the tasks. But if you do it what it's designed for, what it's intended for, I'm just going to say it. 5 out of 5 stars. Fit, finish, feel, look. The sheath looks awesome. Everything of this knife is just old school, heirloom, high quality. I just can't emphasize it enough. Can you guys feel the passion? I love what I do. And when I finally get to test something that is just top notch, I get really excited and passionate about it. And I want to share it with you folks. So with that said, I want to thank you all for watching. We'll see you in the next video. And as always, folks, get out and use your gear. Take care.